It's that time of the week for some more smack talk with our friends from around the division. It's the NFC West Huddle. I'm Ethan McReynolds here in Seattle, and I'm joined by our full panel this week. Gerard Moncure in L.A., Robbie Baker in Phoenix, and Keyshawn, the gun show ward, as they call him, down in San Francisco. Keyshawn, I want to go over to you first because the Niners are the team making the headlines this week. They finally signed Brock Purdy to an extension, 5 years, $265 million. Over $180 million guaranteed. And they weren't done there. They also made Fred Warner the highest paid middle linebacker in NFL history, giving him $63 million over 3 years. So, Keyshawn, what are your thoughts on the contracts the Niners just gave out?
Let's start off with Brock Purdy. I think it's a fair price because they're paying him as a top 10 quarterback. Currently, I think he's 7th. He's right behind Tua. I think he should be above Tua, in my opinion. But neither there or say. I think that here's the problem. Now that the Purdy's been paid, you can no longer bring up, oh, he's Mr. Irrelevant. He's a 7th-round pick. Oh, the Niners had a bunch of injuries. Now, nobody wants to hear that anymore because now you're being paid as a top 10 quarterback. So now there's more expectations, more money, more problems. So now, as we go into the season, Purdy's going to be expected to have more on his shoulders now to lead a team to a championship. Because, in the past, Purdy has always had, a plethora of superstars around him, whether it's Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, a great defense, Deebo Samuel when he was great. So now Purdy, even though if he let's just say Niners go through another injury situation, nobody want to hear that because when you look at someone like Joe Burrow, he led the Cincinnati Bengals to a Super Bowl with the worst offensive line. You took away Stephon Diggs from Josh Allen, he still led his team to a deep playoff run. So now there's no more excuses. Brock Purdy has to figure out to lead his team to another championship since he's being paid as a top 10 quarterback. Now on to Fred Warner. Look, y'all, I think, it's not very wise to pay a middle linebacker that kind of boatload of money. But when you're one of the best players at your position and a top 10 player in the league, consisted by players that's voted by the top 100 every year, it's well worth every penny. Because, Fred Warner is a cornerstone and a future Hall of Famer. So, yeah, it's definitely worth the contract for Fred Warner.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can argue with the amount of contribution that Fred Warner has put up garnering that contract. I do want to go back to Purdy. Keyshawn, it's a great point. You're right. The expectations do raise now that he's being paid top 10 in the league at his position. I wanted to open up to the rest of the guys. So Purdy now the highest paid quarterback per year in the division. Leads to my first question. Is he the best quarterback in the NFC West? Robbie, I'll go to you first. And also, do you think the Niners overpaid for Purdy at all?
I think it's probably fair value for Purdy. Shout out Perry High School here in Arizona. The pride of the Perry Pumas, Brock Purdy, getting the big payday. Keyshawn had it nailed on there, the 7th highest paid quarterback in the league. He's getting paid right around like the Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa money, which is probably where Brock Purdy is at. It's interesting how you bring up, is he the best quarterback in the division? He definitely has shown his body of work, been to a couple Super Bowls and done what he's done with the 49ers out here in Arizona. We're not sure if this is going to be Kyler Murray's last year in the desert. It kind of feels like a make or break it situation for Kyler Murray if the Cardinals fall short of making the playoffs this year. Is he going to be the guy moving forward? Because there is some of the same narratives here. Of course, this front office didn't draft him. This head coach didn't draft him. A lot of stuff has changed around Kyler Murray since he became the quarterback of the Cardinals. And then in Seattle, up where you are, Ethan, obviously it's a lot of newness with Sam Darnold. What are they going to look like? And that means I leave Matt Stafford as the last quarterback to be brought up here. He's done it. He's won a Super Bowl. He saw what he did last year with some pieces down, with injuries, able to rally this team and almost beat the Eagles, the ultimate Super Bowl champions, on the road in the playoffs, falling just short there. I would have to say the best quarterback in the division right now is probably out in Los Angeles.
Gerard, I'll go over to you. Follow that up. Do you agree? Is Matthew Stafford better than Purdy? Is Purdy the best quarterback in the division? And did he garner the contract that the Niners just gave him?
Well, I'm going to back Robbie's play. Obviously, Matthew Stafford is by far the best quarterback in the division. Now, did Brock Purdy deserve the money the 49ers gave him? Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, I think it was a pretty good deal, not only for Brock Purdy, who was, we're going to forget about it eventually, was Mr. Irrelevant when he was drafted. But, he didn't get like the largest amount of money that a quarterback gets in the league. So the fact that, they didn't press for maximum money, allowing the Niners to still be able to re-sign other players or sign some free agents, I think was a smart move. I mean, how much money can one man have anyways? In all honesty, I feel like it was somewhat of a friendly franchise deal. And I say that based off of, I just got done saying that Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in the NFC West. Matthew Stafford's total cap hit for this coming year is $47.5 million. His roster bonus was $4 million. His signing bonus was $24 million. His base salary was $16 million. So $44 million overall. Brock Purdy's making more money than that. Matthew Stafford has won a Super Bowl. He's won a couple of division titles, and he was basically probably one play away in inclement weather of beating the Eagles, who are the defending Super Bowl champs right now. So I don't think that we can say Matthew Stafford is not the best quarterback in the NFC West. At age 37, still proving that he can do it. But what we can say is that the deal that the Niners and Brock Purdy got was a pretty good deal for both sides for the money that they ended up paying him.
Yeah, Gerard, I tend to agree. I feel like Purdy being paid the same amount as Jared Goff. Robbie, you mentioned Jared Goff. Seems about right for me, but he's also only making $2 million less per year than Josh Allen. I probably wouldn't have been comfortable with paying Purdy that much if he was here in Seattle, but I also see why the Niners felt they had to get it done and not let him walk with everything he's been able to accomplish. I will say, as a Seahawks fan, and I know a lot of fans feel the same way, I was extremely happy to see the number on that contract, just because it's going to change how the Niners are able to construct their roster moving forward. I mean, the window of opportunity is when you've got that elite quarterback play, on that rookie contract. The Niners don't have that anymore. It's going to be, we'll see how much roster depth they'll have going forward. As far as who's the best quarterback in the division, I mean, you guys sort of said, I think Purdy is up there. I'm going to give a slight nod to not only Matthew Stafford, but also Kyler Murray with what he can do with his legs. And, if we're talking about who I'd rather have today, I'd take Kyler Murray just because Matthew Stafford's getting up there in age. I don't know how many years he has left. I don't know if his play is going to diminish, coming into the season. I like Kyler Murray. And, yeah, Robbie, you're right. He does have some things to prove this season in Arizona. But with what he can do with his legs, just put some more talent around him, I think he can get the job done. I'm also just going to throw this out there. Sam Darnold had over 400 more passing yards than Kyler, Purdy, and Stafford last year. Just saying, can he do it again this year? I mean, it's certainly within the realm of possibility. Is he the best quarterback? I don't know. That I'm just spitting facts, guys. Keyshawn, I'll go over to you.
Ethan,
did
you miss the playoff game? Were you taking a nap?
Yeah, and, over 4,000 yards, over 4,000 yards passing throughout the entire regular season. That's all I got to say. Keyshawn, I'll go to you. Is Brock Purdy the best quarterback in the division?
No, it's Matt Stafford. I'm big on players doing with less, and I last year was a kind of bad example of what could possibly be the likelihood of the future of the 49ers. Now that Purdy's been paid, you saw how many free agents we lost. We lost Dre Greenlaw. We lost Talanoa Hufanga. We lost Deebo Samuel. Losing those kind of players is going to put more on Brock Purdy's plate. And I just think that when it really counts, I've seen Stafford get it done each and every given time. I mean, let's just say this. If the Eagles and Rams played in L.A. instead of Philly, I think that game is a lot differently because the Rams are moving the ball down the field, but when it's snowing like that, that's a game that's really won in the run game. So I think that I have a little more faith in Matt Stafford and Brock Purdy. Now, what I will deflect is I think Purdy is at least the second best because he's had a little more success than Kyler Murray. Granted, the Niners have had better rosters, but it's been too many times where I've seen Kyler Murray have these great regular season runs and kind of just burn out as the season goes on and then it gets a wild card round or he just doesn't make the playoffs overall. And then Sam Darnold, yeah, he did fairly well under that great offensive system with Minnesota under O'Connell, but let me see him do it in Seattle. I'm big on showing me what you can do with less when you don't have such like a great roster. So I'm going to go with Stafford number 1, number 2 Purdy, number 3 Murray, and for now, Darnold at 4.
We'll see what happens this season. All right, next topic.
Ethan, real quick with Brock Purdy, real quick, if I may, in terms of with Kyler Murray too in the contract. What was it, about 4 years ago, the big Kyler extension came out, and he was like $100,000 more than Deshaun Watson, the highest quarterback in the league. Fast forward now, Kyler Murray is not even in the top 10 in quarterback pay right now. That's how much these things have inflated and the salary cap going up and stuff. So the Brock Purdy thing could look like a steal potentially in 3 or 4 years if he ends up ultimately delivering a Super Bowl as well.
It's a good point. I mean, it's really just who has been paid the latest. Yeah, it's interesting. I do find it interesting. Josh Allen getting paid this offseason as well, only $2 million more per year than Brock Purdy. We'll move on to the next topic. The league voted on a variety of rule changes earlier this week. None obviously grabbing more headlines than the proposal to ban the tush push. 22 teams voted for the ban, but it fell 2 votes short. Notably, none of the teams against the ban have to play the Eagles this season. I'm sure that made it a little easier to vote to allow the play to live on. But what do you guys think about the tush push? Should it be banned? Gerard, I'll go to you first.
I don't think that you should ban it just because no one can stop it. I mean, you know what? The Rams had a couple chances of stopping in that NFC divisional playoff game. They couldn't stop it. No one's really been able to stop it yet. But to me, that would be a direct penalty just on the Eagles because they have found something that they execute very well most of the time, and no one else has found a way to stop it. You know, you hear these takes that it's a rugby-like play, and sure, it's unconventional, but you know what? This league is about progressing and finding new ways to move the ball and score points. That's just another one that keeps the sticks moving, and until teams can figure out a way, whether it's guys timing the snap and diving over the top, stacking the box better, until teams figure out a way, the Eagles should continue to be able to use it. And I think that it not being, disallowed was the right vote. That's my opinion on it.
Bobby, what about you? Are you for or against the tush push?
I kind of agree with what Gerard said there. It's kind of, they found a loophole. It's not illegal now. The Philadelphia is really the only team that does it really well, right? The Bills have done it occasionally, but they don't really have to with Josh Allen's big body. The Cardinals kind of tried to implement it with Clayton Tune at times last year, but they kind of showed how hard it is to do well because you figure it out, like Clayton Tune, big body quarterback, fall forward. The Eagles can do it, and the Cardinals could never really get it going, and they abandoned it after about 2 games. I also thought it was interesting when you mentioned, the teams that voted for and against it. A lot of the coaching staff that has been poached from Nick Sirianni over the last couple of years, Shane Steichen in Indy and the Cardinals out here with Jonathan Gannon, they voted to ban it. So not a lot of love necessarily when it came to some of the Sirianni disciples when it came to this vote. I know the coaches don't vote directly, the owners vote, but I'm sure the coaches had a little say in how their owners were going to ultimately side on this thing.
Yeah, really interesting. No brotherly love there. Sorry, that was bad. Keyshawn, we'll go to you for or against the tush push.
Ethan, I'm for the tush push. As a competitor at heart, I don't see where it's a great thing to have an NFL where owners, coaches, or organizations running to the league offices saying, oh, we can't stop this. Please take it out of the game. No, man, that's weak. If you really want to stop it, figure it out. I mean, we've seen back in the late 2000s when the Miami Dolphins incorporated the Wildcat, it got hot and it went for a year. But in about, a couple seasons where defensive coordinators are really scheming against it, they were able to stop it. Or when the RPO is incorporated into the NFL, when teams first see something, they're like, whoa, like it's, puts them at back. But at the same time, nah, man, like I'm of the belief that I cannot see players, coaches in the National Football League being okay with taking a play out because they just can't stop it. Maybe that should put an emphasis on how you should draft or pick free agents. Maybe you should put more emphasis getting 350-pound defensive tackles or loading the box a little bit more. I just think that that's pretty weak to take out a play just because you can't stop it.
Yeah, I sort of fall somewhere in the middle. I don't really have too strong of an opinion on this. I see both sides of it. Gerard, you mentioned it's more of a rugby play. I sort of have that belief. It's not as entertaining to watch. It doesn't really feel like a football play to me. I mean, the Eagles are the only team that run it, and I feel like I agree with you guys that they would be the only ones penalized. So I don't mind them keeping it in the league. But if this becomes a thing where a lot more teams are able to execute it and it becomes incredibly popular in short yardage situations, I'd just much rather see teams have to think more outside the box than that in short yardage situations and get a little bit more creative in those scenarios. But obviously we're not there yet. I don't really have a problem with them keeping it. Yeah, go for it.
Ethan, let me add this too. So people keep saying the safety of the game. where's the data of injuries? Until I see a stack of injuries when they keep running that play, it's not really a good enough excuse to take it out. Because, I heard today earlier on one of the FS1 shows, Smiles like, it's going to take one gruesome injury from a star player, then they're going to take it out. But I'm then like, okay, so what if they do QB sneak and Justin Herbert gets a concussion? You going to take out QB sneak? It's just too many contradictions to take out a play because you can't stop it. So just keep it as it is and just let the defensive teams and coaches to figure out how to stop it on their own.
Yeah, well, and they also, at the spring meeting, they had Jason Kelsey come in and talk about how it's not a safety issue. And he even said he'd come out of retirement right now if he just had to run 80 tush pushes. So I don't really see that side of the argument. The entertainment side for me, not really as fun to watch as a fan. But, it was the same with the read option. Nobody could stop it. We're like, should we do something about this? Defense is adjusted. So I feel like it'll be similar with the tush push going forward. All right, let's move on.
Bottom line, defenses, keep the Eagles out of third and fourth in inches or a half a yard, and you got the problem solved right there.
All right, next topic. The teams voted unanimously to allow players to play flag football in the upcoming 2028 Olympics. Which player from your team would you be most excited to see play in 2028 in the Olympics? Robbie, I'll go to you first.
Mine's probably going to be short and simple and fairly predictable, but it would have to be Kyler Murray. I think if you look at the Cardinals roster, he is kind of your prototypical flag football-y type player with what he can do with his legs and obviously as a quarterback. If you were constructing this Team USA roster and you look at the quarterback position across the NFL, Lamar Jackson's probably your #1 overall pick to be the flag football quarterback, but I would imagine Kyler Murray would not be far behind there.
Yeah, I'll go next. For the Seahawks, I think it's Devin Witherspoon. He's the guy that I'd most want to see out there. He's an absolutely electric player who I think would thrive in a flag football setting. Plus, he's a big trash talker and a wildly entertaining person just in general off the football field. Get an incredible athlete like that in open space combined with the intensity of the Olympics, playing for your country, his ability to rise to the occasion when the lights are brightest. I think he would be must-watch TV, locking down the secondary for Team USA, even though he's not exactly a skill position player on offense. Plus, being able to see his trash talk better without having a helmet on, read some lips maybe, I think it would just be super fun to watch. Keyshawn, I'll go over to you. How about the Niners? Who would you like to see?
Ooh, man. For years, it would have been easy to be like, oh, Deebo Samuel, because he can do everything. But I'm going to have to really brainstorm on this one. I'll say, oh, that's easy. Christian McCaffrey, probably the best athletic running back who could do it all in the backfield. I just think that, if McCaffrey's open space, he'll make everybody look pretty silly. I saw a funny meme on Twitter a couple of days ago. Somebody was like, can you imagine a situation where you have a Poland welder who does that for a living going against Christian McCaffrey in open field? It wouldn't end well. So that'll probably be my best pick for flag football. It'll be definitely Christian McCaffrey.
It's going to be interesting to see the competition for Team USA in the 2028 Olympics. I'm interested to see that. But Gerard, I'll go to you. Who are you thinking for the Rams?
Got to be Puka Nacua. Amazing hands, acrobatic with pads on. I can only imagine what he'd be like without pads on. Not to mention he's got a great personality. As you said, Ethan, they won't be wearing helmets. So you'll see that big smile, that Hollywood smile that the guy already has. He would be the guy. He would represent the Rams well, represent the country well. And his love of football would, it would burn brightly in that setting.
All right, next topic. One proposal that didn't end up getting voted on was one to reseed the playoffs so that the teams with the best records would get the higher seeds regardless of division finish. The playoffs are not changing this year, but it begs the question, do you think the current playoff format should be modified? Keyshawn, what do you think?
Oh, my God, Ethan, when I saw this question last night in the email, I said, I cannot wait to talk about this one. So for years, me enjoying the game of football, I've always been kind of confused because it's been a couple of situations where I'm like, just because you guys have been doing that for a certain amount of years doesn't mean it's right. I mean, let's go back to all the way to 2010 when the Seattle Seahawks went 7-9 and got into the postseason because they won the NFC West, a year when all the teams in the division had losing records. The best record was the Seahawks at 7-9. Now, granted, we did get to see Marshawn Lynch put on a show, the Beastquake, but in that same year, the San Diego Chargers at the time, they missed the playoffs and they were 9-7. I just don't think that's pretty fair to a team with a winning record. Another team that comes to mind was the New England Patriots when Matt Castle took over in 2008. I think they went 11-5 and missed the postseason. Something about that just doesn't sit well with me. So why not do like the NBA where they're going to buy the best records? I just think that in a team that has a great record shouldn't be penalized and be dropped all the way to the 5th or 6th seed, but then the 4th seed or 3rd seed, it has like 9 or 8 wins. Something about that just doesn't sit well with me. So why not rank it like the NBA and go and buy the best records, and you have the best teams in the playoffs each year?
Keyshawn, you're making a lot of enemies over here in Seattle, trying to take the Beastquake away. I don't know if that's going to go well over here in Seattle. Gerard, I'll go over to you. The Rams benefited from this playoff format last year, hosting the 14-3 Vikings and taking them down. Do you think the league should change it?
You know what? As we continue to go season after season, divisions change in terms of their competitiveness. You cannot not reward a team for winning the division. Okay? Otherwise, what are we doing through the 17 games that everyone plays? I mean, it is not the Rams' fault that the division was a little bit less competitive in terms of stacking against the rest of the NFC. It is what it is. They still had to win the division. I just think that you're taking away the middle of the year, the division games, if you are not allowing a prize to be at the end of the season for winning the division. There has to be a reward, and that reward is not only getting in, but it's getting to host a game. And I just think that's really, really important. So I am disagreeing with Key on this one for sure.
Robbie, what's your take on all this?
Yeah, I'm on Gerard's side here. I'm going to go kind of old man, get off my lawn, because I like the way it is. I like the history of this. And to Gerard's point, if you win the division, that is the carrot dangling at the end of the road, if you will. I mean, you win the division, that means you beat everybody in your division multiple times. And it's interesting that we're debating this now, too, because the news broke today in college football that they are going to get rid of the buys for conference champions in the expanded college playoffs. So, locally for us, that would have meant Arizona State, even though they went on a great run, they won the Big 12 in convincing fashion. They wouldn't have got the bye last year. We would have never got that incredible Texas Peach Bowl matchup. Instead, if they would have gone straight seeding, ASU would have had to go and play Ohio State on the road in the opening round of the playoffs, and I don't think that would have gone well. So if you look at that back, bring it back to the NFL, I do know, obviously, sometimes like the Seattle example, sometimes wacky things happen. More often than not, though, the best teams in the NFL win their divisions, and they should get to host the playoff game.
Yeah, Keyshawn, I'm going to leave you alone on this one. I'm with Robbie and Gerard here. I really like the playoff format exactly how it is. It gives value to winning your division, which I think elevates those divisional rivalries that we have in the league. I mean, Keyshawn, you referenced the NBA. Look at the NBA who seed their playoff by best record instead of division. I couldn't name you most of the divisions in basketball because they literally don't mean a single thing. You play your division teams the most, so shouldn't finishing on top of that group mean something? I think it maintains geographical rivalries, which, Robbie, you brought up college football. We're losing that. We need that in sports. It maintains those rivalries with the teams within your region, creates more high-leverage games during the regular season. It also results in great upsets during the playoffs, with the lowest divisional winner having a chance at home against normally a much better wild card team. Keyshawn, you brought up the Beastquake. I think that's an incredible example of the format creating unforgettable moments and great parity within the league. The playoffs don't need to be reseeded, and especially, we're not really talking about, they definitely do not need to be expanded like the NBA is doing with the play-in tournament. I think the playoffs should have to be earned during the regular season, and it should actually be an accomplishment to be playing into January. You shouldn't be able to trade away, a Luka Doncic and have a chance into the playoffs. A little dig at the Dallas Mavericks. Not happy with that one. Let's move on. Final topic for today. It's a bit of a fun one. Only a couple minutes here, guys. The documentary on Brett Favre released earlier this week. So I'm curious, what's your favorite sports documentary of all time and why? Gerard, I'll go to you first.
Okay, I've got 3. Now, you guys know, obviously, I'm an LA guy, but the Best of Enemies documentary came out probably, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Lakers Celtics, old school 80s, Showtime versus the blue collar Celtics, the big three, Bird, McHale, and Parrish against the Showtime Lakers. That documentary was just done so well in terms of showing what happened during that time period between the Lakers and the Celtics, how it captivated the entire country. And even if you weren't a basketball fan, you picked a side. You're either a Lakers or you're on the Celtics. It showed the dynamic of race in the country during the 80s. It was fantastic. My other favorite, I probably watched it 5 or 6 times, and I am not even a footballer guy, but the David Beckham documentary is fantastic. It is just fascinating to see how the Beckham brand started and grew and grew and grew, and how his merger with Victoria Adams, aka Posh Spice, just set up this mega couple in England. It was fascinating, and to hear his words on it and see his emotions on some of the things that he went through while playing for his country and also Man U, it was fantastic. So those are my two.
Keyshawn, I'll go to you next. Favorite sports documentary?
The Last Dance. We could arguably say that kind of saved the pandemic, because at that time when it came out, we didn't have any sporting events. And I'm a LeBron fan, but I'm not gonna lie, man. I had a true appreciation for Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls in the 90s, especially that last run that they made for the 6th championship. I mean, the emphatic moment, Jordan doing this, something that resonates in my head for life. And then, you got to see kind of the behind the scenes of how it wasn't all glimmer and glamour. Jordan had to, punch Steve Kerr in the face. We even saw Dennis Rodman leave his team after a game, go to Las Vegas and party for a night. Jordan makes a phone call, like, hey, man, we're going to come get you. It's like something about that just sit well with me, seeing the behind the scenes of that. And you've seen the true competitive nature of Michael Jordan. I mean, the guy got into a security guard and won his money back over a simple card game. So, yeah, I got to say The Last Dance was definitely the best sports documentary I've ever seen in my life. And I'm a LeBron fan, so it takes a lot for me to say that.
Keyshawn, I actually had the exact same answer. I went with The Last Dance as well. I thought it was just absolutely incredible. And, it was just perfect during the pandemic. Like you mentioned, also for us here in Seattle, the 1996 finals with the Sonics playing the Bulls. That was covered. Gary Payton interview, so that was really cool for us here in the Pacific Northwest. It was all cool except for when MJ says he's got no problem with the glove. Yeah, he definitely did. When the Sonics had Gary guarding MJ in games 4 and 5 and 6, his shooting percentage, it dropped 10 points to 36%. He shot just 11% from 3 when he had the glove on him. So, yeah, MJ, the glove did get to you. And they didn't even let Gary Payton respond to MJ laughing in his face, saying that he got to him. So, whatever, I digress. The Sonics probably win that series if Nate McMillan doesn't get hurt. Anyway, Robbie, close us out. Favorite sports documentary?
Yeah, I'll kind of go a different track and more of like a documentary series, but probably like 4 or 5 years ago, I got real into the Drive to Survive, the Formula One documentary series on Netflix, and I just got sucked down the rabbit hole, guys. I have become the token F1 guy in the office. I'm like the only person in the building talking about tire deltas and pitch strategies and, who's Lewis Hamilton moving to Ferrari. Yep. I drank the Kool-Aid, guys. Like, I'm too far deep in the world. I can't get out now.
Robbie, I'm with you on that. I got a roommate that got me to drink the Kool-Aid as well. We'll have to talk after this. That Full Swing documentary that Netflix does, those series are all incredible. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's NFC West Huddle. You can catch us every week as we get ready for the season. We'll see everyone here next week. Have a good night.